where the blade was truth, where kingdoms burned, and memory walks in armor still. This is iron and ash, the Viking. The North was not quiet. It sang with axes. It spoke in blood. It danced in smoke. From the forests and fjords came the masked ones, not born Vikings. Made, not savages. Shapes, roles taken, selves shattered. To go Viking was not to raid. It was to disappear, to vanish from the farm, the name, the past, and return in paint and madness. They altered the mind, through mushrooms and ritual, through steam and screaming, through drums and darkness. The Berserker was not enraged. He was transformed. A man-turned symbol, a human weapon encoded in myth. Each voyage was a ceremony, each raid a rite, not for conquest alone, but for passage, from one self to the next, from one world to another. They called it going Viking, but it was something older, something darker, a pact with the gods of shadow. You did not simply sail. You crossed a threshold. You unmade who you were, to wear the mask of what you must become, not a helmet, a face, not a beard, a veil, not a man, a myth, and the world still does not know what they were. The Nazis tried to claim them, marching among the mounds with torches and chants, but they mistook blood for truth. They mistook symbols for understanding. The reenactors dress like farmers. They forge knives and bake bread. They speak of trade, not transformation, of culture, not consciousness, but both. In their flags and leather and smiles, sense something, something buried, something alive, something masked. What if the Viking was not a man, but a state of mind? What if he split his soul to survive the storm? What if he walked between selves, the way others walk between ships? They wore ritual like armor, took psychedelics like compasses, moved through fire like dancers. They were not lost. They were disguised, and the world still sees only shadows. Still paints them as barbarians or brothers, but never both. The true Viking may yet be waiting, just beyond the edge of memory, wearing a face we forgot how to recognize. In the beginning, there was Ginnungagap, a yawning void between fire and ice. From this clash, creation stirred. Ymir, the frost giant, was born. From his sweat came more giants. From the ice, a cow, Audhumla. She licked Buri, the first god, free from the stone. Odin, Vili, and Ve, sons of Buri, slew Ymir. The world was shaped from his corpse. Flesh became earth. Blood became sea. Bones became mountains. Skull became sky. The world was flat. Encircled by Jormungandr, the world serpent, who bit his own tail. They believed you could sail off the edge and never return. Yggdrasil, the world tree, stood at the center. Its roots touched hell. Its branches reached Asgard. Its trunk cradled Midgard, the realm of men. Ask and Embla were shaped from driftwood. They were the first humans. Given breath, soul, and warmth, they awoke. Civilization began. Time spiraled, not straight. The end, Ragnarok, was already written. The gods would fall. The wolf would break free. The tree would burn. But death was not defeat. Valhalla awaited warriors. A hall of feasting, fighting, dying, and returning. Until the final war. Odin, the Allfather. One-eyed, wise, ruthless. He gave his eye for knowledge. He hung himself from Yggdrasil for 9 nights. Pierced by his own spear, he learned the runes. He whispered secrets into the ears of kings. He ruled with thought and sacrifice. And always the ravens watched. Hugin and Munin, thought and memory. Borre Vestfold, royal burial mounds like sleeping giants. Inside, blades, bones, and ships. The Yngling bloodline begins here. Half memory, half myth. The Yngling Satin, descendants of Freyr, god of peace and fertility. All the great kings of Norway trace their line here, from Harald Fairhair to Harald Hardrada. They come from this root, and yet, we know almost nothing. 300 years of mystery, a dynasty as long as the Roman Empire, and still we cannot say who they were. We have their mounds, their blades, their burial ships, but not their names, not their voices, only silence and soil. Borre is the cradle of Viking civilization, a cornerstone of the Norse world. And yet, the people buried there remain anonymous, like pharaohs without inscriptions. It is a historical blind spot, one of the great gaps in our understanding, a mythic fog we still cannot pierce. Freyr, god of harvest, of peace, of prosperity. He rode a golden boar. He ruled by generosity, not force. His temple in Uppsala was said to shimmer, surrounded by chains of gold. Offerings flowed like rivers. His legacy seeded kings. Harald Fairhair, Harald Hårfagre, 872 to 930, swore not to cut his hair until he ruled all Norway. He won. Then he cut. The first king of a united Norway. Håkon the Good, Håkon den Gode, Christian raised in England, tried to convert Norway peacefully. Too soft. Too soon. Harald Greycloak, Harald Grofell, ruled briefly. Fell in Denmark. A pawn in greater games. Olaf Tryggvason, 995 to 1000, converted by force. Founded Nidaros, brought the cross with fire. Died at sea. His body never found. Olaf Haraldsson, Saint Olaf, 1015 to 1028, the Iron King of Conversion, lawgiver, saint maker, died at Stiklestad. Canonized. His shrine still stands. Harald Hardrudda, Harald Sigurdsson, 1046 to 1066, the last true Viking king, fought in Byzantium, dreamed of England, died at Stamford Bridge. With him, the Viking age ended. Thor, the hammer bearer, defender of Midgard, god of thunder, red-bearded and loud. He wrestled the world serpent once. They both nearly died. He rides a chariot pulled by goats. When he dies at Ragnarok, it is to slay Jormungandr. He is storm and shield, beloved of commoners. He drank oceans and broke mountains. The Viking world was not lawless. It had rules, codes, ceremony. The Thing, a public assembly, held outdoors, under sky and gods. Free men gathered. Disputes were spoken. Laws were recited aloud by the Logsögumadur, the law speaker. Memory was law. Consensus was justice. If no agreement could be reached, there was Holmgang. A duel. Formal. Ritual. Deadly. 2 men. 1 cloak. 4 marked corners. Step out, you lose. Fall, you die. And then there was Glíma. A martial art. A sport. A discipline. Wrestling for balance. Not brutality. Taught from childhood. Practiced in peace, but forged for war. Victory through timing and leverage, not rage. The Vikings lived by custom, by oaths, by witnesses. Break those and you became nithing, a coward, a ghost, unworthy of name or afterlife. Not all warriors were men, and not all power wore a beard. Viking women could own land, inherit, divorce, rule. When the men sailed, they stayed. They led farms, guarded homes, defended kin. If the men never returned, they ruled without question. Some fought, some sailed, some were buried with their swords. They spoke at the Thing. They carried authority. They were not an accessory to the age. They were one of its pillars. Hygiene was important. The Vikings bathed often. They combed. They scrubbed. They trimmed. They used tweezers and ear spoons and linen towels. They practiced lounging, sauna, steam rooms, heated stones, poured water, released toxins, men and women together, naked, sacred, communal. But Christianity brought shame. Nudity became sin. Bathing declined. What was once health became heresy. The gods receded, but the body remembered. The old gods are not gone. They linger in our week. Tuesday, Tyr's Day, Wednesday, Odin's Day, Thursday, Thor's Day, Friday, Freyja's Day. We speak them every week. Unknowing, inherited. They live in our mouths, as quiet survivors, and in our machines. Bluetooth, named after Harald Blåtand, King of Denmark and Norway, who united warring tribes. As Bluetooth unites devices, the logo, a bind rune, H and B, his initials, carved in code. A Viking king lives in your pocket. His name flashes blue when your phone connects, like a mask in a drawer, like a name whispered in mushrooms, waiting for someone brave enough to wear it again. This is Iron and Ash.